So I went to Vegas. I didn't have a good horror meter.
Because you don't have a good horror meter to begin with.
I do have a below average horror meter.
Yeah, my horror meter's calibrated enough.
Wait.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Ooh,
Fuck
almost.
Fuck you, guy.
It's another episode of Significant Brothers. I still have a little bit of party girl voice from the Halloween party. The number one podcast in France.
Number one podcast.
Yes.
Number one podcast in YouTube.
So, Leandro, you went to Firefest. Tell us about it.
So to clear some things up,
I thought it was an Adele concert.
because Abby thought it was like a Fire Fest. The first day was canceled.
That
right?
wasn't the idea that I came up with. The whole internet decided that when we were young was Firefest just because of the nature of it, and then when the first day got canceled.
I think it
wasn't a good look.
I think it was all of your manifestations taking a physical form in a wind upset. I don't know. So there's something called
music.
what the fuck is it called? Sand fever or some shit, right? Desert fever.
That's when you're sexually aroused by an Egyptian woman.
That's Egyptian fever. And pyramid fever is known by the Easterners. So
Pyramid scheme.
So there was a lot of wind, and if you breathe in this dusty ass wind for 12 hours a day, you'll get the same symptoms as pneumonia, and you will almost certainly die. So that's why they canceled it.
It's like Aunt Connie's house.
Yeah, give or take. Who knows where that sand comes from? But so on Sunday we went, and we waited on a line for about an hour and a half just to come to find out we didn't have to wait in that line at all. Right? It was a line, and then it was just like...
So what's the structure? Is it in Vegas?
It is in Vegas,
Yeah,
yes.
No,
It's
but
by
like
Circus
right
Circus.
off the strip.
Right by Circus Circus. It's ran by Circus Circus, so do I have...
It's a huge area, right?
Yeah,
Is
was
it where the
pretty-
guy
pretty
shot
big. I
people
mean,
in the face?
I'm pretty
No.
sure there are bigger.
At the country concert?
So this is a shot of where we were in line. So this is a line going this way, and then it goes off around the corner.
So many uggos.
Comes back, and then comes back. Yeah.
And pound
Wait,
for
so
pound.
what did this line lead to?
So it led to a gate maybe 30 feet wide open, then a big-ass space. To the left, it's general ed, like to buy tickets, and then up front, there's like 12
Wait, you
lines.
could buy tickets?
It
So
said
then
general admission,
Why
but we
didn't
weren't sure.
Why
or
didn't
not.
you need to be in this line?
Because
you already had
we
tickets?
could
Walk
just
through the gate.
Because then once you get into
Talking
that
to the mic.
space, there's about 12 metal detectors, and then that's where they check your tickets. So we could have pretty much just
Walk right in.
beside the line, and because maybe I'd say 15 feet to the front gate. It just
Did you
scatters.
enjoy the actual concert?
man. I mean, first of all, I'm not really a concert goer, right?
Golly.
and
Golly, man.
oh, gee willikers.
I tell ya.
I
What
tell
time did
ya.
it end?
About 12 o'clock to 1 in the morning.
What time did it start?
Well, we got on.
I feel
think
like
it started
Vegas
at
got to better
11.
utilize Vegas,
11.
right? I think that's a concert that should end at like 4 a.m.
No.
and just bump on the strip.
Abby, I wish.
Jess seemed to have had a great time at this
Bro,
concert.
I wish. Now that I'm thinking about it, I was just so tired and intoxicated that I forgot to do it. But
Drugs or alcohol?
plead the fifth. Not alcohol.
You drank a fifth?
Of non-alcohol. So of cigarettes. So
Tobacco.
by 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, you would have thought we were in an apocalypse. The amount of people who were just passing out, like they were just asleep on the floor.
Is it because they're geriatric millennials?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was the average age? Like 35?
Oh. See those three people right there?
Yes.
That's the general age. People who were my age
Seem young.
when these songs were coming out, when Paramore was brand new in 2007, they were my age.
Yeah, I was going to say they look a little old or they've just aged terribly. So this is a thing I noticed. I kept going to like the when we were young things.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't if I offend you or your girlfriend, that's fine. I can't just stop beating that drum. Pound for pound, the ugliest concert goers if I've ever seen. It was like
affect me?
constantly overweight girls in fishnets and like flowy shirts, and then men dressed as like ragamuffins.
Fuck is that guy?
Like on a scale of Coachella to what's the ugliest festival known to man?
Comic-Con.
Okay, that's debatable.
Comic-Con?
No, there's probably some hot people at Comic-Con.
Burning Man? Are Burning Man people ugly? They're smelly.
I think that just has a large like bandwidth. Like it's like it can go from uglies to like rich people who would go to Coachella.
Anime
Country
con.
concerts are probably the hottest, right? Country festivals. Like hop-ons, short.
Ugliest
but they're
would
like
be
racist
like-
blondes.
But the guys are ugly at country concerts.
they're like racist. They're like racist hot.
That makes them
blondes.
hotter.
Like
Like
metal.
Tommy Lauren.
Metal concerts would be the worst just because of the ratio. It barely
Yeah,
any
because it's
women.
like the 70-year-old.
Mostly-
Yes. Okay. So from on a scale, Coachella's got to be the hottest. It's rich girls from the
I
valley
guess
in
Coachella.
California.
Yeah, Coachella or
who
like
are-
an EDC. EDC would have.
Oh, EDC
The zoo- the
rocks.
zoo or whatever the
Yeah,
fuck
but the girls were a little too trashy because it's like Jersey hot.
It depends on where it is because I think EDC is different.
They had it in
states.
Vegas,
That might be fucked.
which was probably
gonna do the Leandro.
unreal.
I think the ones in like Mexico, bro. Because if you're an American flying to Mexico, you have to be at least a 6 or a 7. There's a couple of schmugglies, but you know, mostly hot Mexican chicks.
Schmugglies.
Come on.
Yeah.
Schmugglies.
But about this, yeah, I wouldn't say that.
Like
was
if you were a
many.
single guy, it's not a lot of good eating.
Yeah, I don't think groups of girls went. You know, like single girls. I don't think there were many.
Except for Jess.
I mean, when we went to the hotel, we were at the El Rio, whatever the
Okay.
fuck it's called. There were a couple of
That's,
girls there, but
Translates roughly to English for the Rio.
there were a couple of girls there.
For those
but,
who
but
who don't speak Spanish.
there were a couple of girls there, but my male senses were tingling, and they were saying like either these girls are whores or they're escorts.
So I went
So
to
that was,
Vegas.
like,
I couldn't.
little
I didn't
fuck.
have a good horror meter.
because you don't have a good whore meter to begin with.
I do have a below average horror meter.
Yeah, my whore meter's calibrated enough.
Wait,
to
but
date.
to me, whore would also be prostitute, right? Or no?
Yeah.
Those
that's
are
what I
lady
meant.
in the night.
No.
It's disrespectful
Whore
to a
and
whole
escort.
profession.
Whore and escort. A
whore
whore
is-
likes it.
But a
An
whore you're not
escort
paying
doesn't.
for, right?
No. They're just promiscuous.
So a whore is just like your mom.
I'm not paying for her.
I'm just kidding.
I'm not paying for
I thought
her.
I was getting a punch on that
Oh.
one. That was like the joke that I was like, this might cross the line. I was testing if we were really friends.
Why would
Shout
I
out
get
Ned
mad at
Fulmer.
that? Why would I get mad at that? And I would never say something about your mother, but you
No,
did. so.
I was just kidding. I feel like the vibes are way off. I went for a half court shot.
Now I know you set the bar.
And I fucking
Nothing is precious to you.
and I fucking
yeah,
hit-
you're just gonna come back in like 20 minutes and be like, oh, by the way, I fucked Kayla.
Here's this photo of
By
your
the way, your
mom.
wife's a skank slut.
She sent it to me.
No. Your wife is. Your mom is the most lovely woman that I've never met.
So whores are like girls who just wear like very promiscuous clothing. They want to hear the whistle calls, but they don't want to hear the.
Do you think this is what the round table's like at Webster's Merriam's dictionary, where they're like, whore? How do we define whore?
I think that's been defined for what are we in fucking Salem witch
That's
trials?
probably one of the first definitions.
Yeah.
In
Whore.
Your mother's a whore.
Is there a bigger word for the word whore?
Like a longer word?
Like Horus or some shit?
Horcanium.
Horcadium.
Horticulture.
Yeah, she's
Whore.
she's from the genus Hornicon.
Whore to horror culture.
Horticulture.
What do you think the Greek word for whore is? Because that's probably where it comes from.
Hormadius.
Let's see.
So
You keep
while you
talking.
do that, let's go back to the when we were Young Fest. So the problem is that everyone was there for Green Day or Paramore. They were the
Green Day
headline.
was there?
Not Green Day. Sorry. Yeah, Green Day.
Paramore?
Oh no, not Green Day.
My Chemical Romance.
My Chemical Romance. Exactly. I don't really give a fuck about those guys, but they were either for one of those two. So people were there from 10 a.m. like us, standing the entire time.
Porn.
Well, yeah. So my friend Jess went to it, and I asked her how
How long did she last?
she was like on the railing for Paramore, and she said that they got in those
I
spots.
would never do that.
Did you see her? Did you see her pictures?
Me neither.
No,
I'm
but
never
I would
fighting
never
to-
do the railing because of the whole like South Korean
yeah.
crushing.
But she
Right?
She said
That's insane.
I would never do that.
And what's crazy is one year when me and Amanda went to a Global Citizens Fest.
Yeah.
One of those barriers fell over, and the noise
was like gunshots.
kick-started a fucking
Stampede.
A stampede. But luckily, we were by like the.
So I've
NBC
long
area.
believed that stampedes were bullshit, and the more I think of it, like they've got to be the scariest thing in the world.
Easily.
Because
You're fucked.
I used to think like
Can't
just
do a
don't
single thing.
don't fall down like you dumbass.
No, but you get sucked down practically.
But not even that. It's like I was reading about the South Korean thing. They just got like, it was 120,000 people deep. And it was just a wave of people that pushed them into an alleyway and crushed them up against like a brick wall.
What?
Like that's how they died.
Mm-hmm. Well,
there was nowhere for them to expand.
Yeah,
so they were like
breathe.
stuck in this area, and it just like crunched them.
Did you see the one
I did
Twitter
not hear
thread that like described what you should do, like if you're
Jump
ever
up?
in those situations?
I'm
But
climbing on ya,
They
motherfucker.
talked about it, and they
Is it
said that
jump
when
up?
there's like when it reaches a certain number of people per like square whatever.
Yeah, like
meter or something.
I don't think you can.
The crowd essentially begins to behave like water, how water moves, and that's like terrifying to think that like
wait.
a body of people can act
Well,
like
that
water.
makes sense because your force is all attached, and
Yeah.
that's what water molecules.
It's like
are all-
molecules coming together.
I don't
yeah.
give a fuck.
Wait, so what do you do in that situation? What are you
They
supposed
basically
to do?
just said that you have to like
Because like no matter how hard you push, you can't control the force of 100,000 men.
one of the main things is that like you have to keep
Make sure
like your
for your expanded.
your chest
Yeah.
space is clear.
But my question
You're
is,
supposed to hold up
what,
like this so you can still breathe.
what were they doing there?
Oh, it was like a fun festival.
Because if I go anywhere and I see a crowd that dense, I'm out of here.
Full of Koreans.
I don't,
out.
bruh. I don't give a fuck. Because then I'm starting to. If
Also,
I go in that
Koreans are
crowd,
like this big. I feel like I could just.
if
push
I
the
go into
crowd.
that crowd, I'm going in with blades. Because if that shit starts getting tight,
Yeah, rollerblades.
sling, bro, I will be the Grim Reaper.
there was
out of this
140 dead at this festival, but Leandro survived.
motherfucker. I'm in the middle, just covered in blood. Like, ah, how did that happen?
He's just crying. I made it.
Yeah, right.
What
Somebody
else?
was in there with
What's
blades.
another tactic? Because this is
Now you're fucked, bro. Don't get yourself.
this
in
is
that
a training
situation.
exercise, and this podcast could save someone's life.
It said something about like you have to try to get like as close to like you have to know where your exits are like beforehand, which is basic like
Bro, you're fucked.
emergency.
There is no exit there. It's a
Yeah.
long ass alley, right?
Right. So like, think about
but it also
parade
said
in New York City.
but it also said like you have to know beforehand like when things are getting crowded. 'cause
How can you sense like the crowd shifting towards you?
the thread had like a picture of like when something was certain square footage and like how many people per square foot or something like that, and they said once it's like more than
So I will say I only was in an experience once that I could like literally not move through a crowd. It was Halloween 2008. I was going to visit Kayla. The Phillies had just won the World Series.
ooh, that's a
They were going through the Canyon of through Broad Street on the Canyon of Heroes, basically their own version of Canyon of Heroes. And I went to go to the subway stop basically, and it was like so jam packed that I couldn't get to it. So I went to like turn around to like plan an alternate route, and I was just trapped. Like by that point, maybe 5,000 people were behind me, like, and just packed into me. And I was like, guess I'm watching the Phillies win the fucking like celebrate the World Series. I sat there for 2.5 hours
goddamn.
and just enjoyed. I met a guy named Rob.
I've never had an instance like that.
We drank
the
together.
closest I've ever had to
I
that
didn't
was when we went to that Kanye show together.
That was scary.
When people just started rushing the fucking theater.
That was actually really dangerous.
insane.
Because it was the
So
same
give him some
shit.
backstory. Give him some backstory because I don't know if he knows.
This is when
Or the viewers as well.
What
Like
Governor's Ball.
Governor's Ball got
Oh.
canceled.
Due to
and he
rain.
said he was going to perform at Webster Hall.
Kanye West.
So me, Amanda, Leandro, and
Yep.
Kayla went to that area to just go to Webster's Hall thinking we're the only ones reading like Kanye daily.
Yeah.
And
The whole world was.
and we were basically outside of it, and just like such
Oh,
a
I remember
crowd,
that.
crazy
But we weren't
form.
even that
but
far
we
back.
were right next to like what really scared me the one time when we were trying to leave was when we got stuck next to the, you know, when trucks
Like
have
a loading dock, right?
a loading dock.
Yeah, I remember that part.
and I was like,
Bro, people
get
were
up!
crazy.
I was like, get up above the loading dock because. Like the crowd was just gonna push and like behead us because the way the loading dock went, like you would get like crushed underneath it.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And I was like pushing Kayla up. I was like, the fuck up.
And the crazy thing was that
It was scary.
People were physically like, you know how a truck has a cab, right? The front part that pulls the load. People were crawling through the cab to get to the other side because the line was getting cut by this loading dock and this truck that was here. So either people were going in front of the truck to go into traffic or in the loading dock, which is where he was saying to go into, to go around. Amanda got so mad, she like punched the dude in the chest, and you would have thought it was a fruit fly hitting this motherfucker, bro. This guy didn't even react. I saw Amanda put every ounce of strength she had. She was like, ah! Bink.
She looks really weak.
Oh, she is. She is. I'd probably be able to snap her in half.